Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm in beautiful East Texas. I'm here with my friend Todd, new friend Todd, who owns LoneStarBoars. Guys, you know I've taken on to the kind of the pig hunting bug, and we were out in Georgia last year, and we were doing some pig hunting, and really it was exciting. And I met Todd at SHOT Show, and through our mutual friends at Armasight. And Todd is quite the pig hunter. You're, I would say, definitely an expert in pig hunting, and certainly an expert in Texas pig hunting. Not that there's much of a difference, but Todd, how did you get into this, man?
Well, I originally started on this ranch. My friend owns this ranch here, and the hogs were causing so much damage. He called me up and said, man, we have a huge problem. Of course, didn't believe it, and I came out here to see him, and it looked like an artillery barrage had hit his fields.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started, just the damage that they caused to this ranch.
Right, and we saw some of that damage when we were out hunting, and you could see the holes they were digging out there in the fields. Now this place is really unique. We have about 7,000 acres. We've been roaming around here for the last couple of days, so we're after the hunt for the most part right now. And I just wanted to share with you guys what this hunt was like, some of the equipment that we were using, and kind of go in a little bit more depth of what it's like to pig hunt and how it's evolved over the years. Todd and I were talking about how he got started in it, and you started off with a lever action rifle.
Yeah, 45-70 lever action, 5 shots, and it was fun, and it knocked them over, but
yeah.
To keep the population control, you really need to kill 7 or 8 out of 10 just to keep it even, and it wasn't cutting it, but so it's evolved into this, from a 45-70 into night vision suppressors, AR-15s, 6.8s, 308s,
Right. Well, you're telling me you went out with like 50 rounds on your first hunt, and like within an hour you were out of ammo or less?
Yeah, I brought, the first time I showed up with 2 boxes of ammo, 20 rounds each with a 45-70 and a 1911. I ran out of, we killed 47 hogs in the first hour. I was out of 45-70, I was down to my 1911 and the last magazine on it.
You're like, okay, now I need to get a semi-automatic rifle and up my game a little bit. Now, how many magazines do you carry now?
I carry 5 to 10 magazines every time I go out.
So what's kind of interesting, guys, is he's when I went on my first pig hunt, I took a couple of calibers. I took 300 blackout, and you were one of the guys that said, yeah, be careful with those subsonics. So I took a 300 blackout, and I took a 7.62 by 39. With the 7.62 by 39 and the 300 blackout, I was using a Griffin Armament Recce 7. We're out here with some more Griffin Armament cans for the hunt that we were doing the last couple of days. The suppressors really are a big part of this, not just the semi-automatic rifles being able to carry more ammunition because there's just so many pigs to shoot at, but the suppressors really changed the game too, right? Because now we're not wearing ears.
You're not wearing ears. You don't have the muzzle blast when you're shooting next to each other, disturbing the shot. At nighttime, there's no muzzle flash. They're confused on where the sound's coming from. And also, we hunt at night. There's several houses out here that you've seen that the ranch hands live on.
Yeah.
When you're out here at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you don't want to wake them up with their wives or their kids. So all that, plays into a part.
Which is kind of funny, guys. So this is a little bit different. We started around 10 o'clock at night on average, and we come back in 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So we were out pretty much all night hunting these things. And it's really interesting to see how you guys do it, because you're using night vision, right? So we have some 3rd generation night vision here, monoculars and binoculars, and also thermals.
Yes, sir.
And so the thermals are really cool for really being able to pick up anything that's living out there. It stands out. The contrast is really sharp. And the night vision was really cool for basic spotting and driving around. It was really great, guys. We're driving around, lights out, no tail lights, everything's blacked out, 4-wheeling through creek beds and stuff, looking for pigs, and then you'd spot them. You have a unique setup. You run the Armasight PVS-14, which I believe you have the
white phosphorus.
Right. Guys, you got to see the white phosphor. It's unbelievable. It's a lot more contrast than the standard green haze we're used to. And then you run that, and then you have this Armasight handheld, which is a thermal.
The Prometheus thermal monocular. So that's why I don't run dual tubes. I run this one on my left eye, and then I'll use the thermal monocular so I can use both technologies, because with both technologies, thermal won't see through glass, since we cover such large areas.
Right.
When we drive around. Use this to drive with and see through the windshields, and then this to cover the large fields, because you'll see every mouse and everything out there, so you can cover a lot of ground really fast with a thermal monocular.
Yep. And the thermals are absolutely unbelievable. I've been playing with my Zeus op mod for about a year now, and I've really become a big believer in thermal. And the resolution on these things is so good that you can actually see bullet holes in paper when you're sighting the gun in.
Oh yes.
But they also can be a little bit finicky with regards to the environment. So if you're out after a fresh rain, it kind of levels out the temperature, and you lose some of that detail. but on a hot summer night, you can see leaves and blades of grass and the hair on the pigs, right?
Oh, yes.
So it's kind of amazing what they offer in terms of being able to sight things.
And that's another reason I use the two technologies, because say a fog bank rolls in, your thermal's going to cut right through it.
Right.
But this would be just like white light or anything else. You're not going to be able to see through the fog. If the dew point hits the way the temperature very rarely happens, usually the thermal is going to outperform the night vision as far as spotting. But there are instances where the dew point hits and the moisture in the air, and it acts like a fog to the thermal. Usually the night vision will see very well on that night. So if you have both technologies,
you can just jump back and forth.
Every night's pretty good.
That's pretty cool. Now you've settled on the 6.8. Let's get back to calibers. What made you go over to 6.8?
Well, originally, like we said, started with the 45-70, limited magazine capacity, muzzle rise. We're doing eradication numbers.
Right.
Switched to M14, but it was a heavy platform. I couldn't hook all the optics and everything I wanted to. I wanted something in a small package that had minimal recoil, but had good knockdown power.
Right.
And I just stumbled upon the 6.8, and it's been a blessing. I mean, it has a recoil of 5.56, but 80% of the power of a 308 to knock them down.
Right.
So you get the best of both worlds. Light, small package, no recoil, but good knockdown power.
It's flattening those pigs. So let's talk about our first night out. So we got into Texas, was waiting for everybody to come in. There's several people on our hunt, and we went out that first night, and it's either feast or famine, it seems, when you're pig hunting. Sometimes you'll go out and you'll see a pack of 30, and other times you'll go out and you'll see 6 to 10 of them. Sometimes you'll see nothing, even when you got thousands of them on a 7,000 acre plantation. But that first night we went out, we saw a couple of pigs, and you put them down pretty quick with the 6.8. I mean, that was pretty impressive to see how hard they hit those pigs.
Yeah, it does a good job. I mean, that's one of the reasons I use it. Again, we're not taking just perfectly aimed shots. Of course, your first shots. But when they start running off, we're still shooting at them. So
right.
I need something that will anchor them. And, of course, we don't want to wound them. We want them dead.
Yeah.
And we want to find them to show the ranchers that we're actually doing our job. You don't want them running off. So we want quick kills, but we will need something that will anchor. If they're running away and I shoot them in the rear, we want it to knock them down because, again, we're trying to keep the population in control.
Right. And that's what this is all about, guys. I mean, like you said, they're extremely invasive creatures, and they do quite a bit of damage to things. And so we decided also, the Griffin Armament guys decided they'd bring something fun out for us to play with, the 240 Lima, which is a belt-fed 308, and they brought out their brand new Alpha suppressor along with some of their rifles that I believe there's one of the rifles over there to play with. And I tell you what, I've never, obviously this is my real first year of pig hunting. I've never hunted a pig with a belt-fed 308. Now, that was incredible.
I had to giggle every time you shot because it sounded like a paintball gun with that can on it.
It was so
I mean,
funny.
you were standing right next to me, and it was I started laughing every time you fired.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, we were talking about putting a thermal on it, but the thing weighs like 30 pounds, right? Even though it's a lightweight version, the Lima has a shorter, lighter weight barrel, has a lightweight stock and all that stuff, but it's still a heavy gun, and to fire it from the shoulder is not an easy task, right? So what we wound up doing is using a D-ball, and I was using night vision. And I could laze them with the D-ball. It's in the IR spectrum. It's invisible. And so we could clearly see the dot on the pigs. And then I would just, let them have bursts, and we would just hit droves of pigs.
It was amazing.
It was a lot of fun. So we had a little bit of everything. We had semi-automatic rifles. We had, 3 or 4 guys on the line shooting. It's really interesting how it all plays out and how you guys set the hunts up. A lot of people think you just go sit somewhere and shoot pigs. I mean, you guys put a lot of work into it as well. We went out and we were putting some corn down for the pigs, kind of baiting them in so we could try to get them into an area.
And that's mainly just to hold them, there, so when we come up, we know where they're going to be. You bait them there. It's not going to attract the hogs. Some of the ranchers worry about us bringing in hogs. The hogs are already there. That will just hold them so we know where to look when we come out there to the field. So we can get a better, shot on.
And here where we're hunting, we had another thing that we had to be worried about, and that was the cattle that we have. So we have pigs mixed in with cattle, and we don't obviously want to shoot the cattle. So, it was kind of interesting. A couple of times we saw a group of pigs, but they had intermixed with the cattle, and then we're trying to get an angle on them and try to get the cattle out of the line of fire and get the pigs. It was really interesting how it all played out.
That causes problems, but I mean.
Now you're saying a lot of times the two run together.
Well, the larger boars will mix in with the groups. A whole group or a sounder of hogs, what we call them, we normally run the cattle off once they come in. They'll run the deer off, the cattle off. The boars will kind of mix in and use them as cover. Mm-hmm. It seems they're really kind of smart. They've learned how to defeat us in some ways.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting thing too, because a lot of the farmers will resort to trapping the pigs. And in one of the conversations we're having while we're out hunting, the pigs are so smart that if they see a pig get trapped, they'll stay away from traps.
So we actually run traps on this ranch also. I mean, it takes a combination to really control them, is a good combination of traps and hunting with the night vision and the rifles and things.
So we had a lot of folks out. We had the Griffin Armament guys came out. Silencer Shop came out, brought some suppressors for us as well. You're running the LWRC. And, we just had a great time with a lot of folks. Now, another thing that's really cool is the plantation we're staying on, 7,000 square acres, but we're sitting in a house, which is right behind us. It was built in like 1850s.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a real 1850s plantation that we're staying here.
Beautiful
it's just
property.
Absolutely beautiful property. On the back side over here, it looks like you have a schoolhouse or a church, and, they have ranch hands and stuff. It's an active ranch.
It's a working ranch.
Yeah.
Yes. And the beauty about this property, as you've seen, you have the rolling hills,
yeah.
You have the open plains, you have the pecan orchards, so you have a variety, but that does create the problem, while we're here. You have a river that runs through, so constant water source, constant food source with feeding the cows and the crops, so, the hogs are a never-ending problem here.
So it's a never-ending problem. How popular has pig hunting in Texas become? Because I see a lot of folks in social media talking about coming out here with helicopters and stuff. It seems like, it's a big tourist thing now.
It seems like it's taken over. I mean, everybody that I know has that's their primary thing now, because we can do it 360, 5 days a year, day, night. We can use a belt-fed machine gun, night vision.
Right.
I mean, it's
no rules.
It's endless fun. I mean, and
the population continues to grow.
I mean, even with all the traffic, we keep it on this ranch at a nice level. But I mean, that's with constant trapping, shooting. We talked about, like, during the daytime when it's warm here in Texas, these hogs ruin the water supplies. They can't cool themselves off. They don't pant. They don't sweat. So they get into the rivers, into the creeks, into the ponds, and that's where they stay. They contaminate the feces, urinate in them.
Yeah.
They can. It's a working cattle ranch. They carry brucellosis, which will make the cattle go sterile. You saw the protein feeders for the cattle. The hogs actually get up in there and urinate and feces into then the cattle come along and you catch the disease. That's another concern.
Right. And they're hard. You're telling me that you've seen them or heard of them, even like killing fawns and stuff like that. I mean,
anything they find on the ground, they're going to eat.
Right. So people think that these things are passive, and they're not. It's not like Bambi. I mean, these things have tusks on them.
We had the one that came right at us. I mean, we stopped him, but he was coming at us before.
He was.
So.
We dismounted vehicles. We were setting up. We were looking. We thought we saw some up on top of the hill. And next thing you know, we hear some bustling over in the bush to the right. And you swing the thermal over, and there that pig was. I had night vision. I couldn't see it. This is where thermals really rock, guys. He swings over with the Armasight, and he's like, "It's right there. It's right there." We were going to hit it with the belt fed, but I never saw it.
He's back in the trees. So
then he started moving on us, and you're like, pop, and flipped him over. Legs went up, down he went.
Yes, sir.
So it's just a lot of fun. If folks want to come to Texas and hunt, I know you guys don't do guiding, but I mean, can you hunt pretty much anywhere in Texas, or is it where's it popular? Is it East Texas, Central Texas, West Texas?
It's the whole state. Whole state's overpopulated. There are people that do guide service. There's not very much public land in Texas. It's 90-something% private, but hog hunting's become big business in Texas.
And the farmers want you to come out.
The farmers want you to come out. They're dedicated guide services. You can find them on my forum, or you can find them. Just Google hog hunting services, and there's daytime, nighttime, helicopter. I mean, pretty much anything and everything that you'd want to do, there is.
So Todd has a YouTube channel. It's LoneStarBoars, right?
Yes, sir.
And then he also has discussion forums, which would be a good place if somebody's looking to come and hunt in Texas to go get information, ask questions, and maybe find ways to
tactics. And then there's people on there that do guide services, and you see the video for the different systems and how we do it, and different baiting techniques and what sign to look for, and it's just information and helpful hints.
You were showing us rubs where they like sharpen their tusks. We saw them damaging the trees. We saw where they were rubbing up against the trees. All sorts of crazy stuff that I learned about while I was out here, because this is a learning experience for me. But I have the bug. I mean, I'm coming back. As a matter of fact, awesome. I think we're planning another one here in about 3-4 weeks.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna keep coming down here and shooting pigs. Well, Todd, I really appreciate you and the hospitality you've shown us.
It's been a great time, man.
I've had a blast. I'm looking forward to coming back and doing this again.
I tell you what, I just had fun sitting back watching you shoot that M240.
Me too. It feels like, I don't know.
It's awesome.
I'm chuckling like a little schoolgirl, like chuck, 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 and just watching the plumes, and it was just absolutely incredible. A lot of fun. If you guys want to learn more about hog hunting in Texas, please do swing by and check out LoneStarBoars.com. Check out the forum, swing by and definitely check out his YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description below. And if you guys want to support the Military Arms channel, you guys can do that by shopping at Copper Custom, which is our online store. You can find us at coppercustom.com. I'll put a link down below. You can also pick up a Mac patch for $3.99. It really helps out on the channel. And if you guys haven't already, please check out full30.com. It's full30.com. We've taken all the web's best firearms content creators, brought them under one roof, and that is full30.com. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and we'll talk to you guys soon.